Hello, I am Shane Brinkman Davis Delamore, and this is Code and Optimism, a show where we explore how to solve problems faster with software. Gotta burp. There's a problem with drinking a smoothie right before this. All right. Hello, I am Shane Brinkman Davis Delamore, and this is Code and Optimism, a show where we explore how to solve problems faster with software. This is the 5th episode in the sequence that we have been exploring Generative AI, ChatGPT, a little bit on the image end of things with Stable Diffusion. The first one was just a fun little exploration. The next two were about what are the implications of a radical increase in productivity like this might potentially mean in terms of society and economics. And last week, we started to talk a little bit about the essence of generative AI and ChatGPT. What are its fundamental limitations? What are its fundamental capabilities? What is it going to look like as it evolves? This week, a little practical advice on thriving in the era of generative AI. And this is really speculative because this is going to be a fast changing field. But I think a lot of these ideas I'm going to throw at you today are probably generally applicable no matter what comes down the pipe. And this is nowhere close to an exhaustive list. I would love to have other people's thoughts about how we're going to thrive in this new world. I think it's going to be possible to thrive quite well. I think we're going to be learning along the way. But for all of us looking at this, it'd be nice to be ahead of the curve. So let's dive in. The things I want to talk about today is the software demand specifically. Previously, we were talking about the demand in general for market goods, for value. We're going to talk a little bit about software demand specifically to start with and why it is infinite. And again, previously I said that demand across the whole market is infinite, is unbounded at least, but demand within a specific segment may be bounded. Software is infinite. And I'm going to explain why in just a moment. Then we're going to talk about getting good at using the tools. And it's kind of a no-brainer. If the new tool is powerful, you should get good at it. But let's talk a little bit about what it's going to take to be good at using generative AI. And last, we're going to talk about shifting your mindset around your work. Shifting your mindset from perhaps the mindset is, I'm a software engineer. I like to code. I like to do create stuff that's useful to people. How do you shift your mindset so you can be adaptable no matter what radical technology improvements come down the pipe, and so that you can stay ahead of those curves and continue to deliver the maximum value and be most valuable to other people? So let's do it. Software demand. So why is software demand infinite? Well, here it's actually pretty straightforward. It is the case that if we define software in the most broad terms, beyond just us writing code that runs a computer, to include stuff like DNA as software, even if you're a materialist like I am, that our brains and our existence is software. That software is information in motion, is the way I like to describe it. And it's about how you architect information that changes over time. And if you look at that, software is always going to be the critical tool going forward for solving problems. Any problem we're going to run into, software is going to be how we're going to control how that information evolves over time. That's how we're going to solve problems. And if software is always going to be a critical tool for solving problems, then the only real question is, will there always be problems? And I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say yes. So here's the key thing. Whenever you solve a problem, it always creates new problems. You just level up, but there's always more problems. You will never run out of problems. And so since every time you solve a problem, you create new problems, there are an infinite number of problems, and therefore there's always going to be demand of software to solve those problems. And again, software, I'm thinking in the broadest sense, but it is this sort of sense of creating systems of information. And software can be anywhere from stuff that helps with artistic creation, stuff that helps with building bridges, stuff that helps with communication, that helps with our psychological well-being. Software is just this controlling our environment in predictable ways. That's what software is all about. So software demand is going to be infinite. And I think that's just a background thing we need to keep in mind as we look at all these changes coming. That it's great that they're going to level us up. Don't worry, we're going to have so many problems that we're going to need these extra tools to tackle. That's great. This is what we want. All right, getting good at using the tools. This is kind of perhaps the central and important element right now. And the first step is play. And I think that that's really pretty critical with any new tool. And I think that coming at it from a play perspective, right now, no one really knows what this is most useful for. But the play perspective is, first of all, don't worry about getting something valuable at the other end. Just have fun with it. Poke at it, prod it, get excited about it. You kind of have to have that childlike glee of, oh, this is going to be fun. What am I going to do with this? What's it going to result in? I do strongly encourage, if you've got access to children, play with them with it, because children are much better at play than we are. They will teach you how to play with it. They'll come up with new ideas you never even thought of. This is how you're going to start to figure out what this tool is useful for, is by playing with it, fiddling with it, figuring it out, and doing experiments. The last one is, lots of people are playing around with this. I think that now is a time, if any ever was a time, to be paying close attention to social media, to YouTube, to wherever your sources of information are, Reddit, whatever you want to follow. See what other people are doing with it, because no one really knows, but lots of people are trying, and there's only so much you as a single person can get to. Lots of other people can get to it also. And I would watch out. What I'm most interested in is there's a lot of people who are putting a lot of noise about, one, there's what's funny, and it's good to explore what's funny. That's part of play. I just said that's important. But there's also a lot of people who say like, oh, it just wrote a whole application all by itself. And it's, and this is often people like, oh, it just did my job for me, and I'm going to lose my job. And I've seen many posts like this. And if you dive into them, my experience has been, they asked it to write a to-do app. Well, since ChatGPT is trained on the internet, and what is the number one example app for anything out there is a to-do app. And so, of course, there's a bajillion pages out there that show it how to write a to-do app. And yes, you can give it more prompts to sort of refine it to a to-do app that did never exist before. Of course, it can help you write a to-do app. That's not interesting. What's interesting is, to be fair, it's awesome that ChatGPT can do that. That's something that nothing could do previously, but it's still not all that helpful. I am so far finding that ChatGPT is more interesting for not writing code for me. It's doing incidental things. It's just asking it to do stuff. Like I wanted a list of all the Sundays from now until middle of 2023 in a specific date format. And I could have easily gotten an answer within about 10 minutes. I could have coded it myself. A little bit of Googling maybe would have eventually found me a table. But I asked ChatGPT and it immediately spit out a bulleted list every Sunday with the right format. I literally copy and pasted it into my drafting program, which then I printed on a piece of paper and I was done. I think more likely in the short run, it's going to be saving us 10-minute chunks of time on little subtasks that we would have done some other way. It'll just zip us right along. Not so much the generating of code, but maybe it'll help there too. So learning from others, experimentation. The last thing that I want to talk about today, and this is sort of a shorter episode, is shifting your mindset. And I think this is really the critical thing with any new technology coming down the pipe, is what often we get attached to caring about how we provide the value rather than focusing on the value that we're delivering. So it's very natural us as coders. This is actually a bit of my little grievance too about this whole new ChatGPT thing is I like coding. You like coding. We like that process of solving puzzles. We've got skills around coding in our language around certain patterns to solve puzzles. We like it. There's a sense of mastery around using our skills to solve problems. But you know what? We're not here to code. That's not the point of what we're doing. Our goal is not to find opportunities to code. That's not the meaning of life. It's not the meaning of our careers. It's not what we're doing. What we're doing is solving other people's problems, or maybe we're even solving our own problems through software. Now, software, like I just said, in the general writ large sort of sense, gives us a huge amount of options. But we need to shift our thinking to care about the value we're delivering rather than caring about how we're delivering it. Learn to let go of the how and get obsessed about the what, the why, the what are we delivering? How is this financial tool helping people, manage their money better so that they can prosper? How does it make people's lives better that they can stay in connection with their loved ones? How does it help doctors work with their patients better? Like all of these things, think about the value. And this kind of rolls back up to, again, the aspect of the lean startup and also first principles thinking is we need to really understand the key to the value we're delivering to people. And then once you get obsessed about delivering the value, you want to deliver that value as quickly as possible. You want to give them the best value. That's the obsession. And then you're going to be excited about ChatGPT. You're going to be excited about Copilot. You're going to be excited about all these tools because these tools help you deliver that value faster. Let go of caring about the how and switch to caring about the why and what you're delivering. That's the key thing. And honestly, it's a bit of a self-coaching because I am a little bit attached to my particular way of solving problems. I actually think that some of the things that we know are still going to be very relevant. I don't think it's going to completely invalidate the way we're solving problems, but it will invalidate some of them. And if we hold on to them because we like that way of solving problems, we're going to become less valuable than someone else who's like, I don't care. I'm just going to use the best tools I can. So those are my thoughts at the high level. Just thinking about staying relevant, particularly as a software developer. I think these do also apply to anyone being impacted by generative AI, artists and so forth. I think the artists and generative images stuff, and we're going to have generative audio, we're going to have generative video, we're going to have generative movies. All that stuff is going to be happening. This big thing about caring about the value that you're delivering rather than how you're delivering it, that is the critical aspect. So the things, software demand is going to be infinite because software is about solving problems and we'll always have problems. So don't worry about that. Start learning about the problems. Get good at using the tools. Starts with play and then it becomes a little bit more formalized with experimentation. And there is a lot of learning everybody's doing right now. So learn from other people because there's only so much you as one person can do. So get involved with other people doing the same sort of stuff. And the last, what I've already been saying, right? Care about the output, not about the input. Care about the why and the what we're trying to do at the other end, not the how. And it's easy to say. It's going to take some mental reframing. But if we can let go of the how, then all of a sudden any new tool that helps us solve problems faster gets exciting. And I've been shifting my mindset too with this. I was initially a little reluctant to engage with this new generative AI technology. And now I've very much swifted. I'm like super excited. How can I use it? How can I use it to accelerate things, to solve my problems faster? Because ultimately, that's what I'm here for. That's what this program's all about. That's why I started Code and Optimism. So once again, thank you for spending your valuable time with me. And as always, I don't have all the answers. I would love to hear from you. Do you have thoughts on this about how to thrive in the world of generative AI? What steps do you think that people might find useful? I would love to have additional thoughts. I think this is a wonderful tool and it's going to be super powerful. And I think the main thing is, how is it really useful? How does it actually save us time throughout the day to getting things out the door? And playing so far is what I've been doing. Playing with a lot, just trying anything I can, throwing random questions at it. Build me an OS, and it tells me it can't do it. So with that, I will leave you with my reminder that all problems are solvable with enough knowledge.